Welcome to the Social Ninjas podcast. I am your co-host, Kyle. Join with me as always, the other co-host, Jeremy. What is up, Jeremy?
What's up, Kyle? Hello. Hi. What's up?
Nothing much. Really excited for our special guest we have with us today, though, Darryll Stinson. What's going on, Darryll?
What is poppin', baby?
So, Darryll, for people who don't know who you are, can you give us a little background and kind of what you're doing right now?
Yeah, man. So I am a former Division I athlete, founder of Second Chance Athletes. I coach athletes to transition from sports into entrepreneurship or dream career, whichever is their choice. And yeah, man, I just love helping entrepreneurs grow, scale, and make a huge impact in this world.
Awesome. So I watched your TEDx earlier today. And it's funny because my kids were watching me like, you're interviewing that guy. It's really cool. I'm not sure why they thought it was so cool, but
Oh, dang, shots fired.
So a little context, I have 6 and 4-year-olds. So they didn't really know what was going on.
Oh,
But
I got you.
But yeah, you talk a lot about rejection. So
Yeah.
can you give us a little background? And I know you said there's kind of like not two types, but it was like 2 ways to view rejection.
Yeah, so rejection, man, is any time where you feel like who you are is not enough to be liked, loved, respected by others. Or when life throws you a curveball and you feel like life just slaps you in the face, we call that rejection. It never feels good. It makes us question ourselves. It makes us think that our future is not going to pan out. It just puts us in a bad place. What I submit on the TEDx talk and what I'm a big advocate of is that rejection is actually a friend and not an enemy. That it can actually, if we frame it the right way and learn how to view it, as I mentioned, as projection or protection, that we can literally process, analyze, dissect those moments of rejection, pull wisdom out of there, information out of there, and reflect on how we can use what we learn to produce success in our life.
That's beautiful. I kind of want to get into it if you're open, and that is the background, like your biggest challenge. My biggest challenge leads to my biggest purpose. And I know you have you went through quite a challenge. Are you open to talking about that challenge and how you got over it?
Hey, man, I'm open to whatever's going to help people move forward, live healthier, happier, have better families, better businesses, whatever. So let's do it.
Yeah. So can you tell everybody like what kind of challenges you went through in the past that like motivated you to do what you're doing now?
Yeah. So, I mentioned this in my TEDx talk, but when I was younger, I got made fun of for being a Black kid that quote unquote talks and acts white. That was the moment where I really started to question my identity, where I felt like, man, my unique self isn't enough to be liked or loved by others. And so I started to change everything about me to fit in with other people. So for some, it might not be that you are a Black kid that talks and acts white. It might be that you were a kid that was overweight. It might be that you were too skinny, too nerdy, too whatever. That made you feel rejected, and you started to change things about yourself, lost your authentic self, lost your voice, lost a sense of who you really were because you so desperately wanted to be liked by others. And so I did that. I changed the way that I talked, the way that I dressed, the way that I walked, the music I listened to. I even changed the way that I laughed, all to fit in with this Black community. And I lost sight of myself. And the crazy thing is that I was really successful at faking it. like they loved me. I got street cred and I was in the in crowd. But deep down inside, I knew it wasn't me who they accepted. It was who I was pretending to be. And for me, one of the ways that I started to kind of get out of that was through playing sports, because I noticed that it didn't matter if I talked white or acted Black. It didn't matter if I listened to rap or country. It didn't matter if I liked to go to bonfires or I liked to smoke weed in the back part of the streets. All that mattered is that how many points did I score? Did your team win the game? All they cared about was sports. So sports became the vehicle that enabled me not to have to choose between the racial divide that was in my neighborhood. And so I fell in love with sports. It wasn't just the way that I could kind of more so be myself. It was also the way that I was going to be rich, famous, buy my family a house, dad, a car, like just be everything that, comes with being a professional, successful athlete. I didn't want to just be the best athlete. I wanted to be the best athlete of all time, the next Michael Jordan, the next rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, you name it. That's who I wanted to be. And so I went to Central Michigan University, fire up chips, on a full ride scholarship to play football. And played with some great people, played with the renowned wide receiver, or hated, Antonio Brown, played with 2013 number one draft pick Eric Fisher, played with Super Bowl winner Frank Zombo. I mean, the list goes on and on. We were ranked as a MAC school 23rd in the nation, and we beat Michigan State because we were the best team in Michigan, baby. So I was a part of that team, and I played as a freshman. At the end of my freshman year, I got hurt. I had to have an emergency back surgery because I was trying to impress the upperclassmen with how much I could squat. And I ruptured a disc in my back. And because I was high pain tolerant, I went an entire summer running, performing, competing with that injury.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I couldn't sleep because the pain was hurting so bad that I finally went and got an MRI, and I had to have emergency back surgery the next day. And I had the surgery, and the coaches said, man, listen, you're a freshman. You can take a red shirt. You can get your education paid for. And you can still come around football whenever you want. I've got the golden ticket. But for me, sports wasn't what I did. It was who I was. And I couldn't let it go like that. So what did I do? I signed a liability waiver, and I begged the coach to let me have an opportunity to try to prove that I could play after this injury. And it worked. I earned a starting position, but I did so at the cost of my physical and mental health. I developed an opioid addiction because I was taking so many painkillers to numb the pain. I started selling drugs to be able to cover my medical expenses. And for 2 years, my life was spiraling out of control. I was going from practices, selling drugs in between practices, going to lunch and classes, selling drugs between lunches and classes, coming back and watching film sessions, selling drugs before and after film sessions. And when we traveled, I would travel, come back, do drug transactions. So my life was spiraling out of control. I was never sleeping, and all in hopes that I would just make it to pro, and I would be able to let the drug life go and then have all the money I need and not have to take opioids anymore, because I would have some like LASIK professional surgery where they replace my spine with like steel. I don't know. That didn't work. My opioid addiction got so bad that every time I made contact on the field, my nose would bleed because the opioids were thinning my blood to a level where I couldn't even make that contact. Coaches saw that something was going on. I started to have like a permanent hunch in my back. They kicked me off the team because they said, look, we know you signed a liability waiver, but this is going way too far. You're going to hurt yourself or kill yourself. We can't watch you do this to yourself. Kicked me off the team, and that's where I was forced to face that R word again: rejection. Rejection from my coaches, who didn't let me play another year. Rejection from life, who wasn't healing my back and taking my pain away. And then on top of all of this, the girlfriend that I was dating for 4.5 years, was planning to marry, left me and got engaged to another man. And the way that I found that out was I was sitting in a car contemplating suicide. She wouldn't come see me, and I found out from a friend that it was because she was cheating on me at another guy's house. Rejection. Girlfriend rejected, life rejected, football rejected. Nobody knew who I was. They only liked me because I played sports. So I was going to be right back to that third grader who was the black kid that talked and acted white. And for me, the pain of dying was less than the pain of living. I became suicidal. Started cutting myself, mixing my opioid pills with alcohol. I would drink a whole fifth of alcohol, get in the car and drive, hoping that I would just black out drunk and get in a car accident that would end it all. And it was these attempts at suicide that landed me in the psychiatric unit. And in this psychiatric unit, I had a shift, a change. I developed a belief that, you know what? Maybe there's something out there for me that's more fulfilling than sports. Just maybe. Maybe I don't have to live my current life as if it's second best to my former life. Maybe all this rejection was actually protection from a life that I wasn't meant to live anymore. Maybe, just maybe, the girlfriend who rejected me was actually projecting her own insecurities onto me. And there was nothing wrong with me. There was just something wrong with her. And here's what I found out: that there was a life more fulfilling than me beyond that moment of rejection. That there was a woman that was better for me than that woman. And I started to build this life that I now live. And can I tell you something? This is a bold statement. I would not trade my current life for my life as an athlete. Not even if I could go be pro right now, because of the lives that I get to impact. And the crazy thing is that I'm still the Black guy that talks and acts white. The very thing that made them reject me has become a crucial component of my success and has enabled me to be versatile as a speaker. I can literally work with athletes who are transitioning out of the pros, help them become heart-centric entrepreneurs. And then I can go on Wednesdays every week, which I do, and talk to recovering addicts who have 7 felonies and are addicted to drugs. Why? Because I'm versatile. Why? Because I'm unique. Why? Because the very thing that people hated about me has made me who I am. And I believe that buried beneath our most painful moments of rejection is treasure that we could cash in. It's kind of like this. It's like oil and water. They were never meant to mix. So at that very point of rejection, you actually find the point of uniqueness. We were never meant to play nice with everybody. We were never meant to be liked and loved by everybody. We were only meant to be connected to the people who are headed in the same direction that we are. And so what I love to do is I love to help people find their purpose. I love to help them process their moments of rejection and find what's buried beneath that pain that I can use to make money, to change lives, to help others.
Yeah, wow. I'm got me all captivated. We just had another guest earlier, and one of the things takeaways I got from it is, your biggest challenges, struggles, rejections with you is that's your purpose comes from.
Yeah. And there's some truth to that. But it's not as simple as that. Right. And so it takes more processing than that, which is why I created the Rejection and Success Guide to go with the talk, right? Because it's not just saying like, okay, the churchy way to say it is like your misery will become your ministry, right? Like whatever you've been through will become the platform that you speak to, like whatever like way you rhyme it together. Sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes you actually have to get in there and dig and let it navigate you. And then there's usually more than just this is cold and now I speak to cold thing that we can talk about. So I'll give you an example, right? So I was talking to a young girl who got rejected by her parents, right? She really felt like she wasn't worthy of love because at the age of 14, after have raising her all those years, they dropped her off at an orphanage and never returned. And when she heard me speak and heard my story, she came up to me and said, "Hey, I never told anyone this, but since they dropped me off at the orphanage, I've been cutting myself because I didn't think that I was worthy of love. And you're the first person that I'm telling." Okay. If we apply that principle that, hey, what you've been through is what you'll speak to, she may be tempted to go, well, hey, now I'm going to go talk to other kids who have been dropped off at orphanages and things like that. No, no, no. In reality, when she got beyond that pain, she recognized that what she actually cared about is helping people who were struggling to find healthy relationships, not parental relationships, just like boyfriend girlfriend stuff. That's what she was passionate about. And so the way she found that out is she had to remove the layer of dirt, of pain that she was buried in, so that she could see her true authentic self. And so it's not always as clean as, you've been through this, now you got to speak through this. Sometimes there's other stuff. Sometimes you got to just remove that debris so that you can see the water clearly.
Wow. So I'm thinking back to when you said you were in that psychiatric unit, and you started realizing that those, that rejection was protection and, projection for you. And was there something that kind of triggered that, or was it just kind of like an epiphany moment, or?
Yeah, I had a faith moment that happened in a psychiatric unit. I had a woman, I call her the woman with green pants. The reason why I call her the woman with green pants is because at that point, I had been crying for so long that my eyes were swollen shut, and I can only open them just a little bit just to see that she had green pants on. On top of that, um, I had been crying so hard and so long, and I had just got off a stint of trying to starve myself to death, that I went from 275 pounds to 219 pounds in 4 weeks. And my body was weak and it was frail. And your perception is distorted. And in the middle of that, she came in the room and she said, "I don't know who you are. And I'm not even allowed to be back here in this part of the hospital. But God sent me back here to tell you that you need to say yes to him. Will you say yes?" I said no. I'm not religious. I'm agnostic. I don't believe in that crap. Religion was meant to control people. And she actually prayed for me. My mother said for 15 minutes. It felt like 5 because the entire time I just kept screaming at her, "Leave me alone. I just want to die." She left. About 15 minutes later, my grandmother comes in the room. She bursts through the door. She's out of breath because she just ran through the hospital because my mom called her and told her what was wrong. She had just driven from an hour and a half away, my hometown, Jackson, Michigan, to Detroit, Michigan, where I was at. And she said, "I've been praying for you the entire way here. God told me you know exactly what to do. You need to say yes to him." So it was the same request from 2 different people who never talked to each other. And I couldn't deny that this was some higher power trying to reach and speak to me. The best way I know how to describe the rest of the story is that I said no to grandma. Grandma prayed for me for 5 minutes. She backed away. The depression was so thick in the room, you could literally feel it. It felt like heavy, wet blankets. And then I just felt deep down inside, what do I have to lose? So I managed to mutter out the strength. Yes, Lord. And the moment I said it, the depression that I was under immediately left. My eyes actually got healed. I could see again, and I just kept screaming over and over again, "Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord." True story. Doctor comes in the room because he hears me screaming. He says, "Hey, what's wrong? What's going on?" I said, "I was running from God, and I just said yes to him." He said, "Send him upstairs to the psychiatric unit."
Oh my gosh.
So whether you're a person of faith or not, whether that sounds too far-fetched or not, here's what I know. that when we talk about being successful in any area of life, your business, your relationships, your ministry, your podcast, whatever it is, when we talk about being successful, it's not about the task that you have to do. It's about the decisions that you need to make. And what I discovered is it all comes down to your next yes. And I love helping people identify their next yes. I am on a mission to simplify success to your next yes. What is your next yes? What is that one thing that you've been putting off that you should pick up? What's that thing that's been at the bottom of the to-do list that should be at the top of the to-do list? What's that thing that you keep saying, I'll do next year, I'll do when I have the money, I'll do when I have the time, I'll do when I don't have kids, I'll do when I do, I'll do tomorrow when tomorrow never comes. That, my friend, is your next yes. And what I want you to do as a result of listening to this podcast is follow me on social media. No.
Like, subscribe, comment.
All right. Say yes. Yeah, that word changed my life, and what I discovered is that it changes others. That when you really look at Jeremy, and when you really look at the people you admire, and you follow their journey, you're going to always connect it to a series of yes, a series of decisions that they made that got them to where they are. So, what decision do you need to make? Maybe it's a relationship you need to reconcile. Maybe it's a book you need to write. Maybe you need to go back to those notes that you took at that conference and say yes to implementing. Maybe you should start a podcast and not worry about how impressive you sound, but focus on how helpful you can be. That, my friend, is yes. And sometimes it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. Sometimes it's hard. You know, I posted a meme the other day on my social media. The left side was the buff, like muscular SpongeBob. And I said, me helping my clients. And then the other one on the right was skinny, frail SpongeBob. And it said, me trying to do it on my own. And we all need a coach. If LeBron has one, if rest in peace, Kobe had one, if Michael Jordan had one, if Oprah has a coach, my question is, who's coaching you? Who's helping guide you? Because you're a great player, and great players need great coaches. And I love coaching people. I love helping them find their yes and then build their success. And not just because that rhymes, but because that's how we change this world. So, if that's you and you're ready to take your life off of pause or off of slow-mo and put it into real time or 2x, hit your boy up. I'd love to help.
That was beautiful.
Thanks,
So,
man.
I wonder if you could give us like an example. How do you go about helping someone find their yes? Like, what are some, tips or techniques that you use to do that?
Yes. So the free version is I send people the Rejection to Success guide and say, good luck, figure it out. I have my process in there. It's not like it's not a bullet point sheet. I mean, this is a deep dive. And there's no upsell, by the way. There's no 7-day funnel. It's just a free gift to say, look, if you want to put in the time, the energy, the effort to go navigate the dark night of your soul, go for it. But if you want my help, sign up. Shoot me an email. Right? No, don't sign up for a strategy call. Shoot me an email. Say I need help. Then we'll sign up for a strategy call. We'll see if I can help you. And here's my process. Step 1, find your yes. Okay. Step 2, build your strategy. Step 3, experience your results. It's that simple.
What if someone's thinking, what is my yes?
Exactly. They need help. So either they download the Rejection to Success Guide, or they just hop on a clarity call with me. Now, I do charge for that, but I've had some great, you know what? If I can just hop on and do clarity calls with people all the time and help them find their next yes, like I would just do that if I could charge like $10,000 to do it. Like that's my goal. I said it here first. I want to get to the point where I can charge $10,000 to help people find their next yes, right? Like that's what I want to do. Yep, I'm writing that down. Okay. Now I do it now. It doesn't cost $10,000. It costs $100. Okay. And so we'll have a 30 to 60-minute session. We'll sign up for 60. It usually only takes me about 30 minutes to help a person really navigate all that complexity we got going on, all that pain we got going on, and go, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do next. And then if you want ongoing coaching, we can talk about that. If you're ready and off to the races, go get them, champ. I'm cheering for you.
So just kind of going through the timeline here. So like your authentic self and, third grade, and then kind of from there all the way to college, you kind of pretended to be someone else. Is that correct?
Super pretend. To the point where I actually tricked myself.
Yeah.
I started to believe my own press. Yeah. It was challenging, man. And I'm not the only one. I've talked to people who are 40, 50, 60 years old, and you'll be surprised. They're still, navigating through pain. A lot of times you can tell where people are stuck by listening to their language. A lot of athletes still talking about the glory days because they're still stuck in them. There's a lot of entrepreneurs still talking about their last business because they're still stuck there. And that's okay. That's okay. I've been there. Failure is sometimes really hard to move on from. Pain is painful. But when we identify where we are, we can help chart a path to where we want to be. But we cannot avoid where we are or pretend that we're not stuck. You can always tell where a person's stuck by listening to what they talk about. I'm trying not to talk so much. Yeah. I know. After 20 minutes of straight talking, now you're trying not to talk too much. I know, man.
No, I hear you.
You know what's crazy? You know what's happening right now? Here's what I think's happening. Is that this is dramatically simple. It really is. And I think we try to complicate things too much. And that's the problem. Now, if we want to talk marketing strategies, sales strategies, funnels, follow-up sequences, Facebook ads, we want to talk networking, relationship building, if we want to talk mirroring, imaging, like subconscious mind training, we can talk about all that stuff. But I would hate to give you tools for you to be successful at something that you were never supposed to be doing in the first place.
How about
The greatest failure in life isn't failure. I think it's being successful at the wrong thing.
spitting them all out? I was gonna ask, like, kind of go back to mental health. Like, how is your mental health upkeep nowadays?
Great question. Thank you for asking. I'm still crazy. If you can't tell by listening to this podcast. One thing I like to say, and I'm glad you asked that because, TEDx speaker, business coach, work with athletes, work with entrepreneurs, help people scale, help people grow, blah, blah, blah. I got my book coming out in September. Got my podcast coming out in September. Lots of great stuff happening. Got a radio show coming out in 2 weeks. Woo! Ha-ha! It's going down, baby. So lots of great stuff. right?
Woo! Sorry for your
And
woo in there.
and I say that to say pat on the back to Darryll Stinson. Okay, woohoo! Gotta learn to celebrate yourself. But you ready? Everybody, take a deep breath. I still take antidepressants. Wow. I wish we had a sound effect that was like, wow. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And that's important because a lot of times when we talk about mental health, it's as if we like the key to mental health is to be cured of it. And in some cases, maybe there's somebody, but from my experience, there isn't a cure for a chemical imbalance yet. And living mentally healthy isn't about being cured from mental illness. It's about learning how to live with mental illness. Okay. And so I've had to learn how to journal. I've had to learn how to meditate. I have to learn how to talk about problems when I don't feel like talking about problems. I had to learn how to get away from people instead of always being around people. And then I had to learn how to get around people when I didn't feel like being around people. I had to learn how to lead myself in a mentally healthy way and tell my body what to do instead of my illness telling me what to do. That's how you live mentally healthy. And by the way, if you have mental illness, it does not mean you're less valuable. It does not mean you're less incapable of success, because you can still be Superman or woman and have kryptonite.
I like that you said that. I'm impressed, and it's vulnerable to share that you're still on antidepressants, and I think that's something that like awareness, mental health, and I think that changing, not having the stigma be placed on mental health. Like I like what you said about can be a chemical imbalance. Like some people have it and some people don't, and it's like, why does this person have it and this person doesn't? It's just the lottery when it comes to.
It's all about perception. Okay. So let me bust up some perception, right? And I'm not, this is not like at you. I hear this all the time. I get applauded for sharing my journey and my battles. Like I even, like, if you follow me on Instagram, Stinson Speaks, like I'll go I'll go live sometimes and be like, look, I was struggling today. I had 2 bouts with depression. And people be like, why would you do that when you're trying to like become somebody's business coach? I'm like, because I'm still Superman. I've just got kryptonite. Like it's cool, man. Like I'm still gonna help you succeed. So where was I going with this? It's very important. I don't see it as something to be applauded. If you think about it, we usually applaud things that are abnormal, right? I don't like that. I get that when someone chooses to be vulnerable about their weaknesses, that it is abnormal, because we like to show our successes and our strengths on social media, not our weaknesses and our failures. But I don't think that someone coming out sharing about mental health should be the abnorm. I think it should be the norm, right? Because I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. And so it's like when people are like, oh my gosh, man, thank you so much for being so vulnerable. I'm like, okay, but that's not how I see it. I don't hear you talk about making 10K a month and go, oh my gosh, thank you for being so vulnerable. Like, no, we're just like, yeah, you're crushing it. I want us to go, hey, somebody's sharing about their vulnerability, their weakness, they're crushing it. Why don't we cheer the vulnerability like we cheer the success or the profit? How's that for perspective change? How's that for changing the world? How's that for changing social media culture? Let's do that, please. And so one of the ways that I do that is that I share it, and I share it in a way that I don't feel shame about it. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't feel pain, because I do. I'm a human. It sucks to try to get up and inspire others when you can't even feel inspired yourself sometimes. So it hurts, but I'm not ashamed of it, because I've not equated it to my worth or my value, because I was about to swear.
The R-rated podcast.
R-rated okay.
Anything goes.
I gotta be careful, you know. Like I got pastor in my title sometimes, and it's like, oh no, cussing pastor. I don't want to get branded that way.
Person pastor.
I like branded as authentic. That's nice. There's no brand on me.
Don't tell anybody. Dude, I'm so like off track right now.
You're good,
guys. I really do. I just want people. I don't know. It sounds so stupid and simple, but I just want what's normal to be normal. Like I want right to be right, wrong to be wrong. I want like vulnerability to be praised and accepted. Like profitability is like I want people who feel left out, like they don't fit in, to know that they're probably one of the world's best kept secrets. Like I want people to stop thinking that you have to fit into some molds, because we like to give free PDFs that says 7 steps to your next business, 8 steps to grow fast. Like when we try to template everything, and you cannot template uniqueness. Woo. Oh God, I'm getting happy. You cannot template uniqueness. You just can't, man. It's like, oh man, like your purpose is as unique as your fingerprint is. Like custom tailored purpose, custom tailored life. We all have this general purpose in life, to be helpful to others, to empower others, to help other people discover their thing, do their thing. Like we all got that, but deep down there's some uniqueness in there, and that's you. You like things that I don't like. You listen to music I don't listen to. You cry about things that I don't cry about. You care about things that I don't care as much about. Because you are a solution to that problem. Because you are a light in that darkness. And I'm just trying to help people shine brighter. I feel like I need a music right there. That was good time. Shine bright like a diamond. Yeah, there we go, man.
Just be yourself. Just be yourself. No.
Love it.
I get this a lot because I've right now I'm doing a challenge of talking to someone in every country in the world, and one of the overall things that people say is be authentic. As people are striving to just be authentic. So how does someone who's like, I want to be authentic, I just don't know how. What would your advice be?
Stop overcomplicating it. We overcomplicate everything. The best marketing. You ever heard the KISS, KISS?
Keep it simple.
Tell me more.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay, so I thought it was something you knew.
All right. A lot of times we mask confusion with fear. So we say, oh, I don't know. How do I do that? How do I do that? How do I? And we think that it's a clarity issue when really it's a confidence issue. Okay. We think we're discerning when we're really just running. Most people know what they should do. They just don't do it because they're afraid. Okay. So how do I get to that place of vulnerability? You ready? You be vulnerable. But how? You just be vulnerable. Start with something small. Okay. Here's an exercise. We like list. Go ask 10 people around you, hey, I'm looking to grow. What do you think my weaknesses are?
I've done this.
Oh man, I think you talk too much. I talk too much. That's why I got kicked out of 4th grade Spanish class. Because I talk too much. Now they pay me to talk too much. Oh, he's too goofy. He clowns too much. That's why I got kicked out of economics. Now they play social ninjas to be goofy. You see what I'm saying?
No, I love that you say that.
The reason why we don't ask about our weaknesses, the reason why we're so afraid to be vulnerable is because we've attached it to our identity when it shouldn't be. And because we don't realize that we're not meant to be liked by everybody, to hang out with everybody. You know what? Somebody shouldn't not like you. If everybody likes you, it's because you doing something wrong.
Right?
Go make some enemies. All right, so that's something practical. Go ask some people that are close to you. Say, hey, what do you see as my weaknesses, right? And then listen and don't retaliate. and keep doing that. And the more you do it, you'll get used to, I can feel rejected, but not be rejected. Okay. That was vulnerable. I survived. I can do it again. Okay. Ask people how you can improve. Ask people what your weaknesses are. Here's a way to be vulnerable. You have to use wisdom with this. You can't air your dirty laundry out to everybody. Not everybody knows, because not everybody has the context. Okay. Right. Like I would share a lot more stuff if everybody would read the entire post. You know what I'm saying? They're going to read the first half and be like, he's a cussing pastor. You know, okay. So, find a secret you have and share it with somebody that's close to you. Just, it can start. You can start with something small. Hey, when I was 10, I stole candy from my mom's candy jar. Okay, see what happens. Then build up. Hey, I actually tried alcohol when I was 14. Okay, then build it up. Hey, those cigarette butts that people put out in the thing. One time when I was 10, I went and grabbed one and smoked it. Okay. Hey, I peed the bed when I was 13. We all have got some embarrassing stories like that. So just try it. And when you try it, because in our minds, we just tell it's going to be over. Nobody's going to like me. Everybody's going to make fun of me. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be a loser. Like it's all this stuff. And then what usually happens, especially in today's world, what happens on this podcast, people go, oh, thank you for your vulnerability. And then go, oh, I kind of like this. Kind of cool. I'll do more of it.
Yes.
Because it's not that big of a deal. We all have got failures. And I honestly don't know. People say it's social media, but this has been around before social media was around. I don't know when we started to be so afraid to be vulnerable and transparent. I just don't know where it started. But it's not healthy. It's not healthy. Because the less transparent you are, the more you will struggle with imposter syndrome.
Oof. I'm writing that down.
It's so true. They don't know. I never charged $10,000 in coaching. Just be transparent about it, man. Hey, that's actually my first high ticket offer, but I believe in it. It's cool, man. People respect authenticity, don't they? People respect vulnerability, don't they?
The right ones do.
You know what I'm saying?
How about that?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
The right ones do. And if they're the wrong ones,
they're not meant to be in your life.
Thank you.
I did a vulnerable post and I got some unfollows. No lie. And yeah, right. He's clapping.
You know what? We should start clapping for people unfollowing.
Yes, I did a post on this called "Celebrate the Unfollow."
Yes,
I remember.
I'm gonna do that. I'm writing that down. Like the next person that unfollows me, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna call them out. I'm like, hey, I just seen that. Jeremy unfollow me. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm glad that you found somebody else to follow. Go be a loser. No, I'm just kidding. No. Screw you, Jeremy. Just kidding.
I mean, no, but I think it's all about projections, right? If that person probably unfollows you because either you're working on something that they're scared to work on, or it can be that you're accomplishing certain things that they wish they were accomplishing, or you're being vulnerable and they wish they could be. They don't have the bravery, so it triggers them. It can be so many. It's nothing. It never has to do anything with you.
Yeah. let's take worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you go through the rejection and success guide, you revisit all your pain and all that stuff, and you discover something. It wasn't protection, it wasn't projection, it was actually me. Like, I messed that up. I did that wrong. I got that wrong. And in the case that is true, and you can't blame it on life, and you can't blame it on others, and you only can accept responsibility for your failures and flaws. Welcome to being human.
So then what?
Learn,
Yeah,
learn
it
from
is.
it, grow from it, and move forward.
I love the someone was telling me recently, it's like you can't drive if you're looking in the rearview mirror. It's not
No,
safe.
it's not possible. Now you can park, look back, go pick up your underwear, and drive forward. Okay. So, because there's always those people, man. Oh, you mean tell me it's all okay? It's just all everybody else's fault, and then we don't accept no responsibility. I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when I learn how to view the rejection through these lens, a lot of the times it helps me to use it as a catalyst in my success. And in the case that it's my fault, guess what else? It still is for my good. This is why John Maxwell wrote the book, what is it, Failing Forward? I mean, that's the whole concept, right? So growth mindset, there's a whole book, like one of the most popular professional development books of our time, because that's the point. Fixed mindset is just like failure's final. Growth mindset is like, hey, there's actually a way that I can grow from this failure or this mistake or this flaw or whatever. So yeah.
So, one question we like to ask all our guests is if you were able to send a message to everybody in the world, what would it be?
My favorite quote: our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. That's my message. I think we all got more to offer the world. And I think we're just afraid of rejection and failure, which is just rejection. True story. Met a guy today, multimillionaire. He was trying to do a partnership venture with something we got going on here. And I wanted him to meet me at my office. He's like, no, come meet me at my mansion. I'm like, I don't care about your man, whatever. So I went over to the mansion. He showed me the stuff, and he's talking all these numbers. And here, the reality was this. I can't get into too much details because people like started to know who I am. like a year ago, like nobody knew who I was, and now it's like, I've done too many podcasts now, too many speaking engagements, so I gotta like be careful. But the sense is that like, he was sitting here trying to tell me this business concept of what he wanted to do with this mansion. In reality, here's what was really happening: is that he lost his renters because of COVID and the way that he was operating it. And he was really trying to avoid feeling that failure. So he was trying to come up with all this business stuff and stretch and bend all the rules so that he can try to like hurry up and make money and save face so none of his little rich friends know that, hey, your property just got foreclosed. He was so afraid of rejection that he couldn't live free. In order to be fully loved, you have to be fully known. And he was trying to experience love without being known. Save himself from rejection and failure so that then they'll love me because of my success, rather than living free and being like, dude, COVID screwed me. Foreclosed. Thought I was untouchable. Lost $1.3 million on the house. And then the people who actually are still with him in his failure. Imagine the depth of love he just experienced. That's how we're supposed to view rejection. The people that walked away when they really knew you has nothing to do with your worth or your value. Your goal is to be you, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be loving, to be kind. I'm pausing so that I can stop talking. So that I don't get kicked out of class like I did in 3rd grade.
I was the same way. I was class clown, and then people were like, "Oh, you're so annoying." So I definitely went through like a period, but I don't want to talk about me. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on. If someone's trying to find you on the social media, where should they look?
Stinson, Stinson, speaks, Speaks. Obviously, not way too much.
He definitely speaks.
Yes.
Speaking of a possibility of rejection, Kyle and I, do we have a Patreon? If you love what you hear and want to support, definitely go to our website, the Social Ninjas Podcast, and give us some love. And we got some extra goodies by being a Patreonies. I just made that up. And don't forget to give us a 7-star and a beautiful review of
I love that.
Jeremy and Kyle are the best. I love that episode with Darryll. He's so cool.
Yeah,
Whatever you want to review.
You nailed it.
Until next week, we are the Social Ninjas Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.